Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm gonna be testing a GeForce GTX 1050 Ti in Need for Speed Unbound. This one is the Asus ROG Strix version of the card. We are running it with the latest Nvidia drivers, and I am not overclocking it. You can see all of its specs right here in Tech Power-Ups GPU-Z. It's released back in 2016. It has 768 CUDA cores and 4GB of GDDR5. And over on the left, we're pairing it with a Ryzen 7 5700G and 16GB of RAM in dual channel, 3200 MHz. Let's get into it now, shall we? Let's go for the settings first. We're starting this at 1080p resolution, and we're using no upscaling and the lowest settings possible in the game, because, well, 1050 Ti, you know, it's not what it used to be anymore. It's 6 years old for starters, and, well, it has never really been a high-end GPU, right? Anyways, that doesn't mean that it's not capable of getting decent FPS here in Need for Speed Unbound, and to be honest, even on low settings, it looks alright. It's super shimmery right now because we don't have any anti-aliasing in place at the moment, but honestly, with TAA, it looked so soft that I prefer it this way, you know? And on a smaller monitor, it should look alright anyways. So just driving here in these highways and stuff like that is not intensive whatsoever, so... that was terrible. Amazing crash, actually. Let's go this way. Okay, I kitted out my car a little bit. As you can see, it looks way better than it used to look previously. In the previous videos, it was just a stock car, you know, so pretty ugly. But yeah, now it's super shiny and super beautiful. So far, it's actually been like 40 plus for the most part. The 1% lows are at 36, but I didn't really see it dropping that far, so... It's a really nice experience here. I thought it would do much worse in this game because, well, it's the 1050 Ti. Sometimes it disappoints me a little in some of the recent titles at least, but not in this one. It can play it and it can look alright still. It's not dropping too much. I mean, did it even drop into the 30s already? I don't know. At least I didn't feel it dropping into the 30s. I'm also playing with a controller, which makes things seem a bit smoother, you know. Mouse and keyboard, well, especially in first-person shooters, you can tell for sure whenever the FPS drop from 60 and from 40 and stuff like that. But here with the controller, it's fine. It feels alright, once again. It's very enjoyable, for sure. I'm just really surprised that it's not even dropping into the 30s. This makes me hopeful that even on medium settings it might be playable. Jesus. I really like these crashes though, not gonna lie. Okay, everything is blinking a lot right now because of low settings. Doesn't look very good in the shadows department especially, but you know, it's lowest settings, so it's not supposed to look good. It's supposed to perform well. And it actually does perform well, to my surprise. Alright guys, it might be possible to achieve 60 plus. Let's try it out with FSR on Quality. And that will make it look a little bit better, or at least less shimmery. Yeah, that's the case. It applies some anti-aliasing on top of the upscaling, and it looks alright. You can see a lot of ghosting in moving cars, though. That can look quite distracting. This is a drift zone. Oh boy, let's try to drift. Oh, that was too much. That was way too much. We're doing this still. Okay, getting around the same FPS, maybe slightly better now. Yeah, this isn't the best car for drifting, right? Let's use the nitros. Okay, there we go. Oh, I'm terrible at drifting. I'm just finding it out here because this is like the second or third time that I play this game. Yeah, third time. I tested the 1650, the 3050, and now the 1050 Ti. Interesting. Why do I always choose the 50 SKUs to test first? Huh. Actually, I was supposed to test the RTX 4080 in this game today, but it was crashing on ultra settings, and I have the same problem with Battlefield 2042 with that card. I don't know why. It's only with that GPU and only in EA games. Kind of weird, right? It gives me like a driver error or something. Anyways, big jump right here. Very nice, and it seems like it's performing kind of the same, so it will all come down to what looks you like the most. It gets you slightly higher FPS here using FSR 2. I've seen that with the other GPUs that I tried so far as well, but you know, since it's only slightly higher FPS, I feel like it's pretty much the same experience. If I didn't have the FPS counter enabled there on the on-screen display, you know, I wouldn't be able to tell you that it's performing any different. Big forest right here, and not a problem. I think medium settings will be a problem though, because it introduces way more grass and stuff like that, and it might actually drop from 30. Should we try to go for 60 plus FPS, guys? Maybe performance FSR will do that? Not 60 plus. It doesn't look terrible though with FSR 2.0 on... No, it's not 2.0, I don't know which version it is, by the way. Maybe it's 2.1 or 2.2, it only says FSR 2. So, yeah, it doesn't look very bad, even on performance in 1080p. If it was FSR 1.0, for example, it would look terrible at this resolution and performance. But not here. It's okay. If you have a smaller 1080p monitor, like a 22-inch monitor, or even smaller than that, it will look pretty alright, even with FSR 2 on performance, you know? You know what? These upscaling technologies are definitely getting pretty good. Even FSR, you know? Like XeSS on performance also looks really nice. Even at 720p, which I wasn't really expecting. Okay, I just restarted the game. We're still at 1080p resolution, no FSR, and we're using the medium settings preset this time. And it seems like it's getting 30s here. Not terrible, but I feel like in grassy areas and forest areas and stuff, it will drop from 30 FPS, unfortunately. Still, it's not the end of the world. With FSR, it might actually get pretty playable FPS in those areas. It's looking definitely way better than low settings. There are more reflections, especially in puddles and stuff like that. The car looks just as good though. But yeah, you can definitely feel that performance difference for sure. Are there trains in this game, by the way? Yeah, there might be, right? I don't see any. Oh, wait, is there one back there? No, it's not. Let's try to get out of the city right now. Get to the forest areas. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay, oh, we're good. We're absolutely fine. Oh yes, perfect stuff. Let's get out of here. Oh, I thought that was just a ramp there. Bushy areas, not a problem. A lot of grass right here, or wheat, or whatever. Oh boy, okay. It's all good. Oh, dropping. It's not all good anymore. It dropped to 29 there, and it was noticeable. It's noticeable once again. 28. That's what I feared the most. Drops into the 20s, guys. It's pretty noticeable, actually. If you don't have the on-screen display with the FPS and stuff, you can still notice those drops a lot, you know, especially if you like lock it to 30 FPS and get used to playing at 30 FPS. A drop to 28 or 27 is rough, but you know, it's only gonna happen inside of forests, so it's not the end of the world, I guess. To be honest, I was expecting this kind of performance with low settings, so it's good that we get it on medium instead. Let's stop it there though, and let's enable that FSR2. That will save this GPU, I guess. You can also enable some dynamic resolution scale and target 30 Hz or 30 FPS, and then it will never drop from 30 FPS, and it won't really have the ghosting that FSR2 introduces, so that's great. Basically, whenever you don't drop from 30 FPS, it's actually running at native 1080p, like right now. And then inside of big forest areas like this one, oh Jesus, that's a massive stutter there. When the FPS would be dropping from 30, it doesn't anymore, unless you have a massive stutter. Alright, AMD FSR2 on quality now, medium settings. Let's try this out. It's looking a bit sharper than native resolution, just using medium preset, you know? That's because of the TAA, once again, whenever that's enabled, and it's enabled whenever you are playing with the presets, it looks bad, honestly, guys. There's no way around it. At least on a non-native 1080p monitor, I'm using a 4K one. it looks pretty rough in the edges, so there's that. I don't really like the native resolution with TAA, and in my case at least it looks a little bit sharper and better to me with this technology enabled. But honestly, so far I think the better experience was low settings without any anti-aliasing and without FSR as well. It just looked the cleanest to me, you know. I liked that. So if you were wondering if medium settings run on the GTX 1050 Ti in this game, yes they do, and it's still an enjoyable experience, with FSR of course, or DRS, dynamic resolution scale that is. Not bad, guys. Not bad at all. Once again, it's outperforming my expectations a little, and you can overclock the card as well, and you may actually get 30 plus all of the time even at native resolution if you do so. I'm not overclocking it here because, well, I got a lot of comments in my previous video when I overclocked this card to test some other game, saying that you should not overclock it, blah blah blah. So yeah, most people won't overclock it actually, so that's it. But if you do OC, you can actually get like 2 or 3 more FPS. And that's actually enough to put us above 30 FPS all of the time at 1080p native with medium settings. So that's pretty impressive for a 1050 Ti once again, guys. Now this is getting quite rough at this point. It's already dropping from 30 and we're not in an intensive area yet. 1080p, no FSR, high settings preset. This is a bit too much now for the little GTX 1050 Ti. Of course it is. Look at that, 20s. Very, very often into the 20s, guys. This is not what I would consider a playable experience anymore. Also, it always stutters a little bit whenever I change some settings or whenever I restart the game. That's what happened here, of course. I changed it to high, restarted, got back into it, and started talking to you guys and counting the FPS, and then it stuttered a little bit. Maybe it's just like loading the map or something. Those stutters that happen a little bit more often could be because, oh boy, of the, oh no, oh what, where are we going? Okay, because of the VRAM being completely maxed out at this point. What have I done? Playlist, no, I want to go out of here, please, game. Oh my god, even in the tunnel, it is not getting 30 FPS. So this is definitely not worth it, guys. God's rays right there, looking very bad, actually. Like, what the hell kind of God's rays are those? And somebody told me those were realistic in the previous video. I know that there are God's rays in real life as well, but these are not really that realistic. The game has kind of an artistic look to it anyway, so I'm not complaining about that. It's just that those are definitely not realistic, right? Anyways, it can get 30 FPS sometimes. Again, if you OC the card, it could get 30 on average even. But it's rough. It's very rough. It would still drop from 30 FPS anyways, so I don't recommend this to anybody. But our Lord and Savior AMD got our backs with FSR 2. Well, it's more often in the 30s now. That's a little bit better, but again, we all know at this point that FSR doesn't really do much in terms of FPS or improving our FPS in this game. It's one of those games where the upscaling technologies don't really make that much of a difference. Even DLSS doesn't give us that insane FPS boost that it sometimes gives us in other games. And as you can see, even with FSR, it's not enough to save the little 1050 Ti. At this point, I think it's just a VRAM issue. It only has 4 GB, which is not enough for this game on high settings. That's a big shame. Oh, we got a long jump right there. Let's check it out. Target 125 meters. Go, use the nitros and stuff. Did we no. Oh, come on, 115. I thought I had some speed there. Oh my god, it's dropping so much here. Oh, that is bad. That is very bad. Alright, I don't like the experience here on high settings. If you want to play on high, play with lower resolutions. And I feel like if you have a 1050 Ti, you probably have a 1080p monitor. And instead of lowering the resolution, you should just play on low or medium settings. We already saw that those perform really well. Again, I feel like the game is super playable with 30 to 60 frames per second, so no need to get 60 plus all of the time unless you are a very competitive person. And if you are, you might actually want to upgrade your 1050 Ti at this point. It's been 6 years. It's done its job, I guess, and it's starting to struggle quite a bit in the recent titles. This one not being one of the worst ones, actually. This is pretty decently optimized. But yeah, it's starting to struggle and showing its age. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you in the next one. Love you all. Bye-bye.